for battle! Ready for orders.
Ready for battle.
Commander?
At your command. We hunger for battle.
Hello, hello. Let's see if this will work. So actually, that is brand new as of today. I am working on updating and upgrading a bunch of stuff. And so this is kind of a run in progress here. The fact that it didn't pick up the game immediately is kind of disconcerting, but you know, whatever. We'll fix it. We'll fix it. But yeah, I am a Dragon Ball fan. I really enjoyed it when I was a kid, and I still kind of enjoy it now. Now let's see here. Oh, that's an exploit. That's nice. I like that. Let's see here. But yeah, I actually am a Dragon Ball fan. But I can't get started yet. I can't get started yet. Oh my gosh, I forgot the most important thing for tonight. Hold on, one second. Okay, I'm back. I cannot start without my notes. And because I'm a old person by my own standards, I write everything down the old-fashioned way, because otherwise I won't remember it all. But in the meantime, let's take a turn or two. Let's give people a chance to come on in. But yeah, so the intro little video is brand new as of today, thanks to Iron Ham assisting me with putting that together. And eventually we're going to have some music actually at the beginning, and I'm looking forward to having about maybe a 15-minute timer there. That way people have the opportunity to kind of stream in whenever they want to. And then I've got Skade actually working on making some custom music for us. So before we do... Exactly. So remember, when you see him, make fun of him, but make fun of him in a way that is positive. Let's see here. I thought I moved you over here. You... Can I make more? No, let's see here.
We hunger for battle!
Mercenary Germanic Pikes. Let's definitely do all that. And move you guys right up here. I thought that's where I left off, was right here.
Follow this order.
Now let's start So right here we have our first real problem. Flavius Honorius is being besieged by a bunch of hardcore, well, hardcore and softcore units here, which isn't good. Now, he's got a relatively full stack, but he's not in great shape. Hey, man, you are good. Don't even worry about it. I really don't use Discord that much, aside from what I'm doing now. Eventually, honestly, what I want to do is I want to get away from Twitter entirely. I freaking hate Twitter with a passion. I despise that place. I don't even know why I get on it half the time. Every time I get on it, I just kind of look at it and I go, why am I here? I hate this place. All it does is make me unhappy. I'm not going here. Let's see here. What does this do? Commerce, 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 commerce. Industry, industry, industry. Forum. What do you get me? I need more stuff. But first things first. I'm going to see. Again, my biggest issue right now is I did not monitor my money very well. Or sorry, I didn't manage my my military very well here. So we're going to upgrade Ravenna and get some more stuff going on. Now, in the meantime, Rome can't do much. Tarentum, I need to raise an army out of here. Definitely need some of these. Need some of these. Need some of these. And we need to retake Rhegium. Oh man. So we'll take a turn or two, then we'll get started with everything. Hopefully these guys are, gonna stay right here. Now I may have just completely butchered these guys, but they still beat the crap out of me, which is gonna be my next problem. I may have beaten them very badly. I may have bloodied their nose. They are still there. And these guys are going to take a few turns to get up and running, and I'm going to need to make another Protectores Domestici. Domestici? I don't know. Latin's a funny language. Who knows what it actually says? Londinium, I believe, has now fallen. Yes, Londinium has finally fallen. I think that was last time. But if I build up my army fast enough, hopefully I'll be able to start pushing back before the Huns arrive. So how was your day, Grim? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Looks like Sirmium is under... Oh, geez. Under siege against Huns. A lot of them. A full stack. Oof. Man. Britain is just going nuts. Ooh, good. They're running. Fantastic. I like that. Just don't take Honorius this turn and we'll be fine. Haha! Oh, they left. Fantastic. I like this. Term of office. Governor. Ooh, rebellion imminent. I have rebellions going on? Wait. Did they just rebel? I don't even know. Alright, let's see here. Do I want one of these? What do I want? I really need to get my... I mean, I have money. I need to focus on my military. That's what I need. I need to focus on my military now. As for you guys, I'm going to do like the Romans did and just supplement my army with a bunch of freaking mercenaries. Looks like they've done the same. Let's knock this fight. Oh, wait, whoa, what? 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 That was... What? Oh, recovering data, that sucks. Like, how hardcore were you trying to recover data? Like, is this data that was on a hard drive or something? Because if that's the case, ugh, best thing you can do as a non-professional is write a script and just say, hey, start dragging everything over without checking it, and just grab as much as you can. And then just keep doing that until the data is all corrupted. I don't want fog. Still fog. Dry, I'll take it. Alright, let's see here. So they've got lots of ranged. Lots of ranged. But I know they've got some melee in there too, so I know for a fact this is not going to be a straight up fight. Or a straight up. Yeah, let's see, hold on.
Lord has spoken. This is a day of battle. It will be a day.
Alright, let's see here. Now, I really don't care if these guys die. These guys are simply here to just be fodder. Wait, are there women in here? That is probably not accurate. Alright, let's fast forward a little bit. Yeah. I haven't worked in professional data recovery, but data recovery is a pain in the butt. I used to just... what I used to do is just go into command line or console, depending upon what kind of computer they used, and I would just simply just tell it, hey, don't do FTP stuff, just throw it and get as much of it as you can. Don't check it, just throw it over here as fast as you can. And I mean, I got some of it, but then you'd get files that came over corrupted and things like that. It's nasty. Oh, don't run, don't run. I don't want you running. Now, these guys are they're splitting. Okay, all right. I'm just gonna split then. All right. Combatentes. And we're not gonna go up the middle. We're gonna take you to the left. As for you, my dear Germanic horseman, well, I wish you the best for that. If it's Windows, I mean, you can tell a command line to just simply take a target. Oh. Choose a target and just... one second, hold on. I hate that freaking shuffle they do. Okay, hold on. Just return to formation. So obviously the game wants to be dumb. Okay. Now they got nowhere to run. You've used your trick, computer. Now you will die. Combatentes. Fine, charge them. Lock their general into combat, and you get behind them. Absolutely. Get my freaking Germanic warband right behind these idiots. Now get him. Yeah. Ooh, got him right in this. How did he stab him in the head and his head just falls off? after this fight. It's been 15 minutes since we started. It's after this fight. We're gonna do our lovely lesson for this evening. And I say lesson, I mean we're gonna talk about some like crazy stuff that happened. Because stuff gets fun in the upcoming years of the Western Roman Empire. I'm also gonna turn down some of the music. It's a little too loud for me. I turned it back up because I really missed listening to the music of Total War. But it is a little bit loud. And I think the reason I turned it back up is because I really missed Rome Total War, the original Rome Total War's music. And this just isn't that. Sorry, guys. Sorry, Creative Assembly. This just isn't as good as your last one. Alright. Well, and they had a DLC that was essentially Total War Attila and not a... these cavalry were a good idea. They had the DLC was, I say DLC, they had a buyable expansion pack that was essentially this and not a whole new game with its own expansions. Alright. Get him. I don't even think I took that many casualties, did I? I lost 102 men. I'm sorry, no. I lost 80 men. And I want to kill all the captives. But you're still alive? No way. Why are you still alive?
At your command. Commander, for death and honor!
We're going to take care of these guys once and for all. I'm just going to kill them. I'm not going to worry about trying to fight fair or any of that crap, or actually go into a fight. I'm not gonna go into a fight for that.
Ready for orders.
Alright. And then for you guys, oh, perfect. Perfect. Yeah, these guys are dead. Light Forest. And what are you? Gauti is your general. Oh, I need to change before I do this. Where is it? Sound. Is that smidge more? Smidge? No, too much. There we go. Okay. So where we last left off, Honorius, our dear Emperor Honorius, had died. So sad. Died actually in a pretty awful way. Edema. Just your body swells until you just die. That's a pretty awful way to go. And so now the Empire is sad and kind of thrown into a little bit of chaos. Not too much though, at least not yet. And our first candidate for Emperor is a man named Ioannis. Now Ioannis was the nephew of Honorius. And Honorius actually never named a successor, as far as I could find. However, where is my general? There you are. However, when Ioannis was called upon to become emperor, he actually didn't really want to do it, from what it sounds like. He was very hesitant on talking about the death of his uncle, which was interesting. I find that very interesting, because most Romans would have jumped at the opportunity. Let's lock y'all in this formation. Most people... You're good, bud. It's not a history lesson. It's a really cool... it's just cool crap that happens, man. That's all it is. History is just nothing more than all the cool stuff that's happened over the course of the years. And the really stupid crap that's happened over the years. So, Ioannis doesn't really want to talk about his uncle's passing. Oh yeah, these guys are screwed. And in so doing, he comes across as kind of weak. Whoa, sorry about that. But whenever he is raised into the position of emperor, he is actually officially seen as the emperor in the West. However, the East does not recognize him. As a matter of fact, they go so far as to basically say that he is not the emperor of the Western Roman Empire. One second, sorry, trying to get my troops all lined up here. Yeah, doing lore while at the same doing history while at the same time organizing troops is actually a lot more difficult than I thought it would be. So, the Eastern Roman Empire recognized a different man as emperor, because this person was the son of the half-sister of Honorius. His name was Valentinian. Now, remember earlier when I said that Honorius was getting a little bit weird with his half-sister? That would be this guy's mom. And her name is Galla Placidia, and she's going to be a very major player for the very, very foreseeable future here. So, whenever Ioannis actually takes the throne, let me speed this up, the East starts plotting and conspiring with their allies in the West. And as we all know, when two major powers start conspiring and working against each other, only good things can happen, right? Oh, come here, buddy. Come here. Come here. Okay, let's deal with these guys real quick. This is definitely going to be a fun fight. And so, we have a few things that happen. The first thing that happens that's a major issue for Ioannis is that he has sedition in his own ranks. He also has the African continent stop sending the grain supplies to Rome. And Rome, by itself, is unable to provide the food that it needs in order to survive. So the only options they really have is to try and bring Africa into the fold. Now, I don't actually mention until later in my notes, but basically the guy that runs Africa is working alongside Galla Placidia and the Eastern Roman Empire to make sure Valentinian gets to the throne. Now, while this is all happening, Ioannis is just trying to administer the Western Empire, and he's having a really hard time doing it because, again, like I said, you just had your major tax puller, or sorry, your major tax, excuse me, what do we call it? Your major tax hub essentially rebel against you. This is a big, big problem for Ioannis, but he does not give up. And as a matter of fact, it takes them about a year and a half to finally unseat Ioannis. But they have to do so by sending a massive F-off army, a massive F-off navy, cut him off from his food supply, cut him off from his tax supply, and even then that wasn't enough to stop him. And here's the funny part, there wasn't actually much information written about him, it's just they couldn't unseat him from the Western Roman Empire. And that's really interesting to me. Despite all of this, this guy who's brand new, has not done anything, has no campaigns under his belt, manages just to hold off the Eastern Roman Empire in all of its might, because the East is way more wealthy than the West. At least by this point it is. They have way more firepower. They've got way more troops. They've got way more navy. They've got way more money. They've got way more food. They've got everything in spades against the West, and they can't seem to get rid of him. Until finally, after being besieged for about a year, they finally convinced the Western Roman militia in the city of Ravenna to betray him. It literally takes betrayal, starvation, cutting him off from money, cutting him off from soldiers, cutting him off from every single aspect of his empire just to get rid of him. Now, we never really get to see what he did because most of the stuff that he did do was very short-lived because most of his time as emperor was basically spent being a hold-up in the city of Ravenna. But based off of that, I'm fairly certain he was probably up for the task. But before he is taken, he requests that his friend Flavius Aetius to go bring his friends the Huns into the West and assist them and breaking the Eastern Roman siege. Now, who is Flavius Aetius? He is a general who actually spent time in King Alaric's court. Now, if you remember from last Friday, King Alaric was the guy that was constantly pissing in the Western Roman Empire's cereal. He's the guy that was constantly in Stilicho's face. So Aetius has spent time with the Goths, and he knows how they fight. And then and he actually did so well there, the actual King Alaric requested that he stay with him so that he can get to know him better and actually be, they can get to be good allies. This is denied, and he's then sent to the Huns for a little while. And he learns how to fight like a Hun, which is fantastic news because he's going to need to know that eventually. I can't imagine why, right? So, before Aetius can return, Valentinian, Galla Placidia, and a man by the name of Flavius Felix, alongside of a man named Bonifacius, have succeeded in capturing the throne in Ravenna. Let's make sure you get what you need. There we go. And let's bring you down here to deal with these filthy rebels. Now, whenever Aetius arrives, much to the chagrin and dismay of Galla and Valentinian, who, by the way, right now, Valentinian takes the throne in 425 at the ripe old age of 6, because we need to learn this lesson again. No, let's not do that one. No, let's not do that one either. I guess the cavalry will have to do. So again, the Roman Empire is now run by a child again. They have a giant Hunnic horde at their doorstep. This creates a bit of a problem for Valentinian's brand new rules, specifically for Galla. Because Galla is trying to actually exert control over the empire, and of course having a giant freaking Hunnic horde showing up at your doorstep... Exactly. Well, you know what? I'm not going to tell you the truth to that story, but they really do like children in the West and the East. But we're not going to discuss that right now because that's not appropriate. But anyway, so in 425, Flavius shows up, and he shows up with this giant, massive army, and he's ready to take on and help his friend Ioannis, who, by the way, at this point now, has not only been executed but humiliated. Because whenever Ioannis was eventually deposed, they cut off his right hand, and they took him from Ravenna, and they moved him all the way down into Constantinople. And they don't show it here. I really wish they did, because they try. I mean, I wouldn't say they try. Creative Assembly hasn't tried for a while. But in Constantinople, there's a thing called the Hippodrome. What it is it's essentially a place for chariot races. And the Hippodrome is where they actually paraded him around like a defeated enemy. And then after they had their fun making fun of him, they cut his head off. This is not a great way to start a relationship with anybody, right? But Valentinian, and specifically Galla Placidia, come to an agreement with Aetius. They say, hey, Aetius, I tell you what, you don't kill us all, and we'll give you Magister Militum of Gaul. Now, what that means is that would mean that he would then become the supreme commander of the forces in Gaul. Now, Gaul at this point in time is an open rebellion pretty much every which way from Sunday. So, what he does is Aetius agrees. But they still got to deal with the Huns. They only got rid of Aetius. They didn't get rid of the Huns. So they bribe the Huns with a massive amount of money. And the Huns just go, okay, we're done. And they just F off back over, let's see, where did they go? They went off somewhere over here. Now, the Huns had been around in Gaul, but they haven't actually arrived in Gaul. But they just got their very first taste of Western Roman gold. I'm sure that won't come back to bite us at all. No, it probably won't. But Aetius then gets to work. And boy, does this man work. Right now, in this time period, actually, this is a pretty good map for what's going on. Aetius actually deals with the majority of Gaul now being in open rebellion. I think this part was in open rebellion too. And he starts bapping these people back in line, and hard. So in 426, he assumes the Gallic, he assumes control of the Gallic legions, and starts just taking back huge swaths of Gaul. I want to take this, but I can't see anything. Is there an army around here? I hope not, because I want to take this.
Commander,
Let's go for it.
we take
My
this
emperor will
settlement.
take this. So he actually goes so far as to actually reclaim land that they haven't had for quite a while. Oh my goodness. How fast? One turn? Let's do both.
Besieging the settlement.
So he actually ends up defeating the Franks, the Goths, the Suebies. He starts just knocking heads everywhere. He's doing so well that Rome itself is hearing about it, and they're loving it. He is a fantastic commander, and he's doing an amazing job. So the decision to make him Magister Militum was a really good one. Now, why was he so successful? And that's actually open to debate. People say different things, and I tried to find a specific reason or what he did. The problem with a lot of the stuff around this time period is, especially for some of the battles, they didn't really keep track of that stuff, which was the worst thing they could have done. So we really don't know what it is that he did, but what we do believe has happened is that because he spent so much time with Goths and Huns, he learned to fight like a Goth and a Hun rather than a Roman. And especially whenever you're fighting enemies that consistently beat the crap out of the Romans, the best thing to do is to adopt their strategy. And it worked. Let's see. There we go. Now, we're going to rewind a little bit, because we have some more players we have to deal with. Remember Bonifacius, the gentleman that I told you about earlier, along with Felix? Well, these two people are very, very important pictures, or very, very important pictures, very, very important people to Galla Placidia. They are her retinue, if you want to call them that. They are her friends and allies. Aetius was not supposed to be one of these massive generals. He was not supposed to be exerting this much control over the Roman forces, because Bonifacius and Felix were both generals in their own right, and to be really honest, they did a pretty good job. Like, they weren't bad at what they did. The problem is, Aetius showed up on their doorstep and basically threatened to destroy them, and he would have done so. This obviously leaves a bad taste in Galla's mouth. So, what does Galla do? Galla then says, hey, I'm going to appoint Felix the supreme commander of the Roman forces. All of them. So Aetius will have to actually deal with him. I'm gonna go, oh, I can assign a governor. Let's assign a governor here real quick. Who do I want? Do I even have anybody? A logistics expert. Oh my gosh. Okay, hold on. And let's move you to... I need to find someplace to put you, Mr. Man. So before we go on, let's make sure I can actually put somebody here. Africa. Africa makes money. Yes, we're going to put somebody in Africa. So really what we have is we've got Aetius that's vying for power along with Felix and Bonifacius. But Bonifacius and Felix kind of have a leg up because they have Galla's ear. Now, here's where things start getting fun. In 427 or 429, depending upon when this happened, I tried my best to find the right time frame, but I kept getting two separate dates, 427 or 429. So either 427 or by the latest 429, all of a sudden, Galla sends a letter to Bonifacius in Carthage. And Carthage is down here, also known as Carthago. And it requires him to return to Ravenna. Now, Bonifacius, if you remember, helped Galla the entire time to bring down Ioannis. But he refuses. He won't go back to Ravenna. This starts a complete and utter crap storm in Ravenna. When I say crap storm, I mean Felix and Bonifacius are now going to war with each other. Felix then immediately claims that Bonifacius' goal is to secede from the empire and create his own empire. This is a big problem now. We have open rebellion in the Western Roman Empire, and we really don't know why yet. What is it that why would an ally of Galla, Valentinian, and even Felix all of a sudden refuse to come back to Rome?
Much blood has been spilled.
I am not making peace with these filthy Italians. Now, as I said, this starts a massive civil war. Hello. Sure, y'all want to die, let's do it. Now, Felix then sends 3 generals with a mix of Roman and Hunnic Federati troops who turn on each other while besieging Carthage. So it ends up happening, and oh man, I shouldn't have left the campaign map yet. God darn it. Okay, well, I'll show it after we're done. But what they ended up doing is they went around, they sailed into Africa, they get to the gates, and then while they are there, they just all of a sudden just turn on each other and start butchering each other. They're Huns. I mean, I don't know what exactly they were expecting, but they're Huns. They didn't really have any working relationship with them, so here they go. So, after that, they lost a massive amount of soldiers just in that alone. Now, Bonifacius hasn't had to do anything yet. He's literally had to do absolutely nothing. But Felix then sends a man named Sigus Vultus, or Sigus Vultus, depending upon how you want to describe or say the name. This guy's a bit more hardcore and a bit better at his job than the last 3 guys that Felix sends, and he starts actually taking land back from them. And Bonifacius then believes that his position is untenable. He can't stay in Carthage, so he leaves. But before he does, friends of Bonifacius in Ravenna show up, and they're like, dude, what are you doing? Like, you're not a traitor, so what is actually happening? And he presents them with a letter that he received. A letter from Flavius Aetius. That's interesting. It's a very interesting turn of events. Why would Flavius Aetius write him a letter? And why would it be something so important that he actually decided to defy the empire for it? The letter states that the Empress Regent, if you want to call her that, is going to call him home. And when she does, and if he shows up, he was going to be imprisoned for life. Huh. That's an interesting turn of events. So he warns his political enemy that another political enemy of his is going to betray him. Well, that's fascinating, because this is the first they've heard of that, and they're in the Queen's, or not the Queen's, I keep wanting to call her the Queen, because essentially she is the Queen. They keep calling, or they're in the court. They know about the goings-on in the Imperial Court, and they've never heard of this. And so they try to return to Ravenna, and they eventually do. But before they do, Sigus Vultus arrives and starts taking back all the land that the quote-unquote traitor Bonifacius had taken from the Western Roman Empire. Now, Bonifacius. Oh, hold up. We're lagging. We're crashing here. What's going on here? No. There we go. Very good. That's the one thing about Total War Attila that I don't like. Sometimes it does that. Now, Bonifacius decides that he can no longer stay in Carthage, like I said. So he is forced to basically abandon his position and move into the fields and the land. And what he does is he just starts raiding what used to be his own territory in order to actually survive. Now, on their way back, his friends get stalled a little bit, so they can't make it to Gala Placidia in time. And before they make it, our dear friends, Bonifacius and his retinue, reach out to a group of people. This group of people is called the Vandals. Now, the Vandals, if you don't know, have a reputation. It's where we get the term vandalism from. That's how bad they are. Now, what's even funnier is that around this time that Bonifacius makes this deal with these Vandals, and the deal was that if he could, or if they would help him and assist him. One second. Doing this defensive maneuver is going to be a little bit more tricky. Gotta get this ready to go. If they would help him retain and reclaim the lands that Sigismundus was taking from them, then they would be allowed to keep half of the land and create their own kingdom. Which, of course, oh hello, no, don't do that way. Which, of course, as any person would do, they agree. And so he brings down the Vandals from Spain into Africa. Let's get you guys in place. Let's get you in formation. There we go. Alright, there we go. And I'll just let this run. Obviously, apparently they're just going to sit here and hang out, so I guess I'll just hang out with them. But as his friends show up in the Empress's court, it turns out she also got a letter. Three guesses who? From Flavius Aetius, stating that Bonifacius planned on betraying the Empire. Whoops. And that she needed to recall him immediately before he could take Africa away from the Empire. It worked out brilliantly. Very brilliantly. So, for those who don't know what just happened, Aetius, who was disliked, that guy was freaking hoss, man. Like, this guy was 10 steps ahead of every... By the way, he's still in Gaul. Aetius is chilling out. He is fun bapping the heads of Goths. That is what he is doing. That is how cool this dude is. I like this guy. So... So Galla Placidia then realizes what the hell is about to happen. And so she immediately seeks to make peace with Bonifacius, because obviously this person never betrayed them. They were set up. And, they tried to set up a Roman who was raised by Goths and Huns. I can't imagine a more dangerous combination in this time period. I just can't imagine one. Now, she sends an envoy named Darius to negotiate a peace deal with Bonifacius. And of course, Bonifacius, when he realizes what's happening, realizes that they can't be doing this, but he just brought a giant freaking horde of Vandals into Roman territory in the most critical infrastructure of Roman territories. He brought them into the breadbasket, the biggest tax harvesting area of the empire, and the biggest breadbasket they have. And he just let some of the most dangerous people on that doorstep, and he helped them do it. Now, you can imagine how this goes, because Bonifacius is more than happy to come back into the fold. King Geiseric of the Vandals, he was promised land. He was promised lots and lots of land. And he was now being told, you ain't getting it. You can imagine this didn't sit very well with him. And he made it known that it didn't sit very well with him. Because as soon as he found out, he just said, okay, and then ran off and decided to start burning and pillaging and looting. Which then, of course, Bonifacius has to now deal and lie in the bed that he made. So what does he do? His new instructions are not to return home to deal with Aetius. No. His instructions are to hold on to Africa at all costs. Against the Vandals, it's a really, really big task. Considering the fact that the Vandals themselves had basically been wiping out Spain for, well, a couple of years. So Bonifacius and the African army, and supporting Gothic federati, marched against the Vandals near the city of Calama in 430 and were utterly crushed. Bonifacius retreated to the city of Hippo Regius, where Geiseric quickly was like, well, I'm going to come after you. Now, unfortunately, neither side actually had the strength to defeat the other. I'm just going to charge my cavalry in there. So, eventually, the Vandals just said, okay, fine, we're just not going to bother sieging the city. And so in August of 431, they just said, fine, we're leaving. So, and Bonifacius took this opportunity to run to Carthage to meet General Aspar of the Eastern Roman Empire. So the East, now seeing that the West is in trouble, and now that their newly installed Roman Emperor is in trouble, seek to help him. Now, are we still fighting? Who are we still fighting? And what are we fighting? Oh, hello. Okay, well that explains where they're coming from. So, they regroup at Carthage and then go out to meet the Vandals again. Reinforced, resupplied, and ready for war, Bonifacius, his brand new friends, walk right out and say, Vandals, we're ready for you. They're utterly crushed again. He is unable to defeat the very group that he called upon to help him take back Africa. And hey, he was right. The Vandals were the right guys for the job. But he couldn't frickin' pull it off. Even with 3 armies, he couldn't do it.
The general has been killed. Excellent.
So in 432, Geiseric crushed the Roman expedition, and Bonifacius is forced to flee Africa, leaving Africa to the Vandals. Now, this is normally a very, very bad thing, but Placidia was running out of people. She needed help. She needed allies in the court. And Aetius, the more he fought, the better off he came in public standing. So she's overjoyed to see Bonifacius. Now, she's still a little bit pissed off about, him showing up with a bunch of Huns. Kind of put a bad taste in her mouth. And she's even in a bit of a mood as well, because he kind of brought a bunch of, because he kind of set up her own allies to, butcher each other. So she's still a little bit upset about these things. So she decides to lay a trap for Aetius. Excuse me. Need a drink. Well, this story only has one ending, and I think we all know where it's going. So, oh man, I lost my place. Darn it. So what ends up happening is Placidia then calls Aetius back to Ravenna, saying, hey, you have been elected to consul. Now, consuls usually were very, very high up in Roman military, and they actually ran the army. So this was actually not uncommon. But it was also a greater, I guess, recognition of his power and what he had done. But when he gets there, she strips him of this title publicly in front of the court. And she then awards it to Bonifacius. Well, Aetius didn't come alone, because what his plan was to accept the consulship and then immediately move back to keep fighting the Gauls, the Franks, the Sueves, the whole 9 yards. And Bonifacius brought whatever was left over of the African expedition that he had with him. This only ends in one way. They can't allow the other. Like, one of them has to go. Period. And so what ends up happening is they basically just have a gentleman's fight. Now, the armies they brought with them really weren't that large. Like, I think in total they're maybe 7,000 on each side, maybe. And they're mostly, lighter troops from what I understand it to be. So, they go out into this open field and just have a big ol' fight. Now again, because nobody bothers to keep records, it's hard to say exactly what happened. But we do know this. The battle was really bloody, and we know that at the end of it, Aetius loses. However, Bonifacius is mortally wounded in the fight by Aetius. Ooh, more defenses. Let's see, where y'all coming from? It sounds so gothic. So what Aetius does is Aetius flees because he can, and he goes to meet with some of his friends that he's had for a long time, the Huns. Well, the Huns are not exactly known for being a very, mild-mannered people. Oh yeah, Western Roman Empire is much, much harder than the Eastern Roman Empire. The Eastern Roman Empire campaign is much, much easier. Let's make sure this is... You're there, you're here. Alright, and do I have more artillery? I don't think I do. Well, they do actually. In history, the Eastern Roman Empire actually does get the Huns first, but they kind of leave the Eastern Roman Empire alone for the most part in the game. So, you just kind of roll with the punches.
We are outnumbered.
So, Placidia... Oh, let's make sure you attack... Oh, God. Let's make sure you attack that. So, Placidia's power... I have not tried the 1212 AD mod. I have not tried that yet. I know that one's interesting. I've seen it, but I haven't tried it yet. Maybe I'll try that later. But right now, I wanted to kind of focus more on just playing the Western Roman Empire and trying to save it from the inevitable destruction that's going to be brought upon it. So, now... Oh, I think I missed a spot, too.
Our general is being attacked. Keep him alive.
No, I guess not yet. So, moving back on. Placidia's power in the field has been destroyed, and more importantly, Felix is murdered. I can't imagine by who Felix is murdered by, right? Felix just so happened to be murdered. It's convenient for everyone involved. Just little things, right? And so Placidia has no choice but to acknowledge Aetius as the supreme commander of the Western Roman Empire. So the dispute in Italy has now been settled, and Aetius just returns back to Gaul to keep bapping the barbarians in the face. And he keeps succeeding. In 436, The Burgundian king, Gundikar, launches an attack against the neighboring Romans that he lives next to, and is met face first with Flavius Aetius. And Aetius just completely, utterly annihilates him. And then signs a peace deal with him, and then a year later says, nah, and just butchers all of them. Then, in 437, Emperor Valentinian turns 18. And when he does, his mother, Galla Placidia, no longer has any power over him. Right? And he gets married to Licinia Eudoxia, marking his official transition into the emperorship. And Placidia's grip, as I said, just keeps waning and waning and waning and waning. This makes her very unhappy, but it also makes Aetius more and more and more powerful, because there's nothing standing in his way except for the emperor. And let's be real, the entire time, Valentinian hasn't really led anything yet. And he'll continue to do just that. He will let Aetius do all of his fighting and all of his thinking for him, because his overbearing mother never gave him the opportunity. I can't imagine why an overbearing mother would be a bad thing. So though Valentinian sat on the throne, Aetius was the one who wielded the real power. Despite Aetius's many successes, he couldn't stop what was coming, though. The Suebi had begun to solidify their hold in Hispania, or Spain, and the Franks were invading Gaul. Again. On top of all this, the Vandals were creeping across Africa, raiding and burning and conquering more Roman breadbasket areas, which, again, not great. So on October 439, the Vandals had officially made it to Carthage. And despite reinforcements from the Eastern Roman Empire, because during this they're still trying to keep Africa, the Vandals had taken Carthage, cutting everybody off from the breadbasket of Africa. Right, I'm going to speed this fight up because this is just distracting me.
One of our units has used all its
ammunition. I tried. They're just going to keep shooting at me until they're done too, aren't they? But the Vandals would not sit quietly in Africa. The Vandals, as they are known, they're not really the kind of people that kind of just hang out. After all, they had just taken all the food supplies, essentially, from Africa, and they have just told the Romans that they can just suck it. That kind of gives them a little bit of a sense of security there, doesn't it? So, what they do in 440 is they start to try and take Sicily. And they start to win. But Aetius and Valentinian sued for peace with the Vandals. And they have to, because as I just said, the Franks are invading Gaul, the Suebis are taking over Hispania, and they don't have the manpower. So what do they say? They say, hey, look. You can have all that land. You can have it. We will even officially recognize the kingdom of Vandal and Alans, because the Alans also worked for the Vandals, if you just leave us alone. And of course, that's a really good deal. You're officially recognized by the Western Roman Empire as a kingdom that you conquered from the Western Roman Empire. That's a pretty sweetheart deal. By the way, the only thing you gotta do is allow trade and occasionally send them food. It's not a bad deal. And so King Gaiseric finally got the deal he is told he was originally going to have, but this time he got all of it. So instead of half of the land in Africa, he essentially owns all of it. The parts he doesn't own, he made sure were the bad parts. The parts that he had been pillaging and burning. So the Romans got to keep the crap stuff. He got to keep the good stuff. Now from 443 to 447, the Western Roman Empire just is having so many little revolts and just outright revolutions happening. I can't even name them all. They're everywhere, and they aren't stopping. Oh, let's move you behind here. And so far, Gaul and Spain are destabilizing. Spain is becoming completely overrun by the Suebies, even with Aetius's many victories, and even with him basically beating the crap out of everything in place. It's becoming too much. He can't keep up. Now, the Eastern Roman Empire wasn't doing much better either, because one of the reasons why they had to call off the campaign to defeat the Vandals originally was still messing with them. And I wonder who those were, right? But in 449, the threat that had been plaguing the Eastern Roman Empire for so long finally makes its way to the Western Roman Empire. The Huns arrive, and leading them is Attila. The Scourge. I forget what he's called. Yeah, basically just the Scourge of God, I think is what they called him. But what brought him to the West? Well, he'd been wanting to actually invade the West for quite a while. Oh, come on, don't break. But for the most part, he just kind of showed up and raided a little bit, but he didn't actually commit to anything. But in 450, Honoria, Valentinian's sister, gave Attila all the excuse he needed to invade. And like all really stupid things that happen, this was done with almost no thought. Because in 450, Valentinian, in order to try and keep his very promiscuous sister in line, marries or tries to marry her off to a senator that would be considered to be safe. You know, someone who would not try to take Valentinian's throne. Honoria doesn't like this, so she sends a letter to Attila the Hun in 450, stating that she is being held hostage by her brother, and that she wants him to save her. Well, that's not good.
The men's resolve is failing.
And then she decides to push it a bit further and mention the fact that she's going to be married to this horrible, horrible man. And in the letter, she gives Attila her wedding ring.
The general has fallen.
Well,
Our victory
Attila then decides, oh, she wants to marry me instead.
The men have thrown down their weapons and are fleeing.
And so he says, okay, I'm going to begin invading the West because of these horrible people are keeping this poor girl hostage. I'm going to be the knight in shining armor. This idiot, this stupid woman brings Attila the Hun to their doorstep, which, by the way, they can't stop him. We all know this story. We all know what Attila is. So he just comes barreling through like a bat out of hell. I mean, I don't even know how much damage he actually does, but it's so much that, like, if you look at the map of Gaul where he actually invades, and I'll once this is over, I'll try to like kind of trace out where he goes. Oh my gosh, we won! I was not expecting that.
Glorious victory will soon be yours.
Well, I guess I'll show whenever the turn is over. He actually, sorry, before I even go into this, he actually then agrees to marry Honoria, but he demands half of the Western Roman Empire as her dowry. So basically what they owe him for marrying her. That's a pretty hefty sum, but alright. I don't know if I can fight another one of those. Who died? Hello. Interesting. Hold on. AD 400 Toledo, Spain. A gathering of 19 bishops from the Nicene Creed. However, the matter of Priscillian is a point of contention. Even though their leader has died, his heretical sect continues to attract followers. I'm not familiar with Priscillian. I don't know who this is. Huh. I don't know who this is. I have no idea what these people are. I don't know what the historical thing is for this. Let's just go ahead and piss off the legions because I don't know what that means. Now, I know Arianism was very popular back then. It's a very early form of Christianity. I say early form. It's a before the Council of Nicaea under Constantine and a few others, like the, I guess what do you call it, the cultured version of Christianity hadn't really taken hold yet. But that's not important. That's not what we're here for. Anyway, so what he does is Attila comes in around right here. Right here. And just rampages all the way through, back around. He just does like figure eights all through here. Until finally, Aetius manages to bring him to an actual fight right around here. Now, of course, we can't see it on the map because these people, they don't actually have it here. But he finally brings him to a fight on what they call the Catalanian Plains, where he brings the Goths, the Franks, the Suebi, all the people he's been fighting, he unites them under one banner to fight Attila. How long do they have? 3 turns? I'll just do this one. I'll do this part real quick, because this deserves to be just left alone. Now, we have no clue what happened in this fight. When I say we have no clue, we quite literally don't know who won. We don't know who lost. We don't know if it was a stalemate. We don't know anything about this fight. We just know that it happened, and then afterwards, Attila just F's off with most of his army intact. That's all we know. Quite literally, that's all we know. Let's see if we can do this siege real quick. We don't know. This is the thing. We don't know how big his army was. We don't know anything. Like the guesstimates are like 20,000 or more, but we don't know jack. Like, but the reason for it is because at this time, like again, you have to remember, Gaul was literally an open rebellion up until Attila decided to come and just shove a very large pointy stick up everybody's backside. I'm trying to avoid cursing. It's really, so the record keeping was not important here. And by the way, like the Franks, the Gauls, I'm sorry, not Franks, the Gauls, the Franks, the Suebis, and the Goths, they actually have little miniature, I guess, little provinces and kingdoms in Gaul. Like there are places where Rome has already started to lose its efficacy already. So it's already started to lose its grip on things. So even then, you've got barbarian groups already taking control over certain sections of the empire, even though it's somewhat unofficial so far. Is this my battering ram? Is this my battering, or is this a battering ram? Okay, you need to go here. I couldn't tell if it was just a galley thing or if it was actually a battering ram. But he leaves in 451. But don't you worry, he's coming back, because of course he's coming back. In 452, he decides to visit his dear friends in the west again. Now, at this point, Aetius has been bleeding the empire dry, but not because he's been dumb, but because he just can't seem to get the rebels in line. They just keep popping up. So he doesn't have an army to stop Attila this time. And oh crud, I shouldn't have left it, man. Okay, so I'm gonna stop telling the story here because I want to show you what the city that Attila goes to, because it's actually an extremely important city in ancient Rome. Because what this city does is this city stops the majority of invasions to Italy, and it has done so and has been the bulwark for Italy for hundreds of years minimum, possibly thousands, depending. I'm not sure how many armies actually have gone through and tried to invade Italy during the height of Rome's power, but I do know that it's an extremely important city. But I I don't want to go any further until we get there, because I want y'all to see what it is that they did.
We have sighted the enemy.
All right, come on, just drop, just drop. Oh, are we gonna? Oh, crud. Okay, so sometimes it'll happen depending upon the size of the walls. Like this will like drop up right here, and they'll just drop down. They'll just do like freaking parachute drops. But that's just me being silly and having a good time playing this. All right. I hope everybody's having fun so far, because this is fun for me to put together. I just wish that I had more time to practice, do stuff. Now let's move. Ooh, this is Honorius. Let's move Honorius in here. Let's get him some action, right? So this shouldn't take too long. This will be a nice quick fight. I can't imagine why this would take
Our men
very
have
long at
given
all.
up and are running for their lives.
What? What? Traitors, they will be killed on the spot.
Our men are rallying. They're
They
not
better
done
be.
yet.
They better be rallying. They're emperors here. Heaven can indeed wait. Because we was Remans. But yeah, so far, poor Aetius is having to put things back together because Honoria can't keep her legs closed and can't keep her mouth shut. Like, let's be honest. That's what this is. That's what all of this is. Alright, let's finish this up. Okay, we're done here. It's true. I'm sorry. It really is. Like, it really is true. She can't keep her legs closed and she can't keep her mouth shut. Therefore, that's why Attila invades the West. Quite literally. Because in parts of Pannonia, which I can show as well on the map, the Huns actually had settled into parts of Roman territory with no issue. But Attila, you know, unfortunately, like Attila is the way that Attila is, he wants to invade the West. And when you gave him the opportunity, I say when she gave them the opportunity, of course, he frickin' took it. Because, duh. Now, and I'll kind of do a side note thing here real quick. Honoria believed that her brother was basically a useless hack, and she wasn't really wrong. But that doesn't mean you do what you did. Like, you can not like somebody, but when your response is, I'm going to cause a crap ton of pain and suffering, you're automatically in the wrong. Alright. Then we'll get into the last little bits of Attila's little reign. Because here's the other part, is that we're not here to talk about Attila, we're here to talk about Valentinian. And if you notice, I haven't talked about Valentinian that much yet. And the reason is because he doesn't do anything worthwhile. And I mean anything. He was useless. His response to Africa being taken was, I guess I better raise taxes. Okay. Like, that was his response. I'm gonna raise taxes. Why?
Victory point will soon
Because
be under our control.
I can't even. I just can't even.
A glorious victory will soon be yours.
Fantastic. So now we're taking good Roman land back. Exactly. The answer to anything is to raise taxes. Don't ever do that, though. It's a terrible thing to do. And we are just going... Now, raise... I almost hit raise, because in Total War Rome 2, that's the button to just occupy. I almost hit that button. I don't want to raise the city to the ground. Alright, let's repair this thing. And can I get... Yeah, let's raise the city that I just took to the ground. These good Christian men. Let's just raise it. Wait, what? Alright, so... The city that Attila then invades first, whenever he's coming down, is the city Aquileia. Now, this city is important because really armies can't travel through this very well. But the only real way to go through is right here. And if you notice, I have a guardhouse here, a little encampment. The reason for that is because most of these guys are going to come right here. And if I can bottleneck them, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to just smack my microphone. If I can bottleneck them, they're not getting through very well. They'll come through here like these guys are, but it's going to be a lot harder. But if you notice, it's just a bunch of bottlenecks everywhere. So I don't have to worry about them raiding down here if I can stop them here. But this city has stood for thousands of years and has defended the empire for at least hundreds, if not thousands of years. Attila not only takes it, he takes it easily. And he burns it to the ground. And when I mean burns it to the ground, I mean it no longer existed. Like, according to the records, this city quite literally didn't have anything left but ash. There was nothing left of it. Nothing. And now, since Aetius had no military might to actually defend Ravenna, which is where the emperor was at the time, Attila, all he had to do was just go down here relatively undefended. Now, Aetius did his best. He actually ended up harassing Attila all the way down here and actually slowed him down horrendously. But it wasn't enough. But before he reached Ravenna, Valentinian moved his capital back to Rome. And when he did, Attila just then said, okay, well now I'm going to Rome. Because I want the emperor. My goal is to get his sister. So what does he do? Well, Aetius again keeps trying to defend the emperor, despite the emperor being a complete waste of time, and his sister also being a complete waste of time. But it doesn't really work out too well. And so what ends up happening is that Emperor Valentinian has to send out Pope Leo with a little retinue of, I think, 2 or 3 other people, excuse me, to actually try and forestall, or at least find a way to peacefully end all the fighting between him and Attila. Now, the records show that many people say that Pope Leo really was the one that was involved and was the important factor in them leaving. However, there's a lot of other stuff that was going on too, because he does successfully get Attila to turn around. But there's lots more to this story that I think the Western Roman Empire really didn't want to talk about. One of the biggest ones is the fact that when Attila actually came in, when he was actually raiding through here, he picked up a plague, a really nasty one, and it was just eating through his army. Another one is the fact that, again, Rome's breadbasket at this point had been taken. So all this is now under Vandal control. They're not getting any more food. Not really. And the previous year, he burned half of the good freaking farmland to the ground, and they are in the middle of a famine. They really don't have any more food for him, and so it's been really, really tough to try and get supply lines going. So he doesn't really have any food. Top it off with the Eastern Roman Empire, which we haven't gone over yet. They had been in agreement with the Huns to pay the Huns tribute. They stopped paying because a new emperor was on the throne, and he was having none of that. So, and to top it off, the Eastern Romans then said, oh, by the way, we're invading you. Ugh, that's going to be nasty. Wait, the Huns don't... okay, I don't know why I was looking at this. They have mostly infantry? That's weird. Now, so I find it hard to believe that somebody just up and convinced Attila to leave. What I think it was that he needed an excuse to back out. That's what I think this was. And Pope Leo gave it to him. He gave him the, it's okay to leave for his men, so he didn't back out with a, what's the word I'm looking for? He needed some dignity for the back out. But I think even his own men were like, we can't eat here. We're losing ground back home. We got to do something. And so he left. Now, I will actually tell the rest of the story of Attila because I hate playing the Huns in this game and I don't ever intend to touch on them again. But the very next year, Attila actually plans to start invading the Eastern Roman Empire. And at his wedding feast, question mark, I'm going to say question mark because it's kind of hard to tell. I think there's different accounts. Some say it was a wedding feast, some say it was just a banquet. All we do know is that there was a wedding that happened, but we don't know if that was the reason for the wedding or the reason for the feast. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't know if that was the exact reason, but it doesn't matter. No more rebels. We don't like rebels in this area. Spain is mine. Leave Spain alone. I worked really hard to try and keep this here. It's just, Funditores. What do you got? But Attila is kind of a drunk. He has this nasty tendency to drink a lot. And there's actually a medical condition where if you drink too much, sometimes you'll develop these little pustules in your throat. This is news to me. I never knew this could happen. But what ends up happening is that he gets so just utterly crap-faced on his wedding night that he basically pops one of these blood vessels in his throat and he drowns in his own blood. It's pretty punk rock, man. Oh, come here. And I want to lock you guys in place. Up. There we go. March you guys forward, and then march you guys forward. Yeah. So Attila isn't defeated in battle. I know a lot of stories actually talk about them being defeated in battle, and I know there's a lot of movies that show he was defeated in battle. He never was. He actually went on basically undefeated. The only thing that killed him was the fact that he had a drinking problem and just could not put it down. Now, his new bride... Oh, hello.
The enemy has laid an ambush.
Yep, they did. They got me on that one. Where's my cavalry? Whoa! Oh, I've got those reinforcements. I was like, what the hell are these doing way back here? It's because those are reinforcements. Let's march these guys up here. And tell you guys to go into skirmish mode. Oof. Damage control, damage control, damage control.
Men have given up and are running for their
Yeah, I
lives.
don't blame him. But just kill the Scout Equites. That's all I care about right now. And you go this way. You go this way. You go this way. Jeez, my line's just absolutely just broken. Okay, hold on. Let me fix this real quick.
Our men are breaking off.
Okay. Oh, for the love. Man, if I could just pay attention for 5 minutes, I wouldn't be in this position. But get these pikemen in there. And you still got Funditores out there too. Man, come on, go, 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 go.
Cowards.
Go, 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 go. Get him. Get him. Get him. Bam. Oh, it wasn't as big of a hit as I was hoping for. Ah, pikemen. Just so overpowered. Love it. I love pikemen. Too bad the Romans don't get them. Now move you guys back.
We've revealed their deception. Hidden troops.
They have more hidden troops? Oh, that's just these. Now, the funny part is that Attila's Attila's sons then kind of pull, if you're familiar with Alexander the Great, they kind of did it in Alexander the Great, where essentially what ends up happening is that his men, or his brothers, good lord, man, I'm getting tired. His sons then tear each other apart, trying to actually divide up Attila's empire, and they end up just killing each other and just destroying the entire threat that the Huns ever posed to anybody. So literally the death of Attila was the death of the Hunnic hordes. Now, here's where stuff gets even more fun. So Aetius, spending most of his life now, or at least his life in service, has spent most of his time making sure that the Empire is safe, even from itself. Let's move you guys up here.
The enemy jet today is yours.
Aetius even manages to marry his son to Valentinian's daughter. Now, it's at this point in our story that along comes a spider. A spider named Petronius Maximus. Maximus has held a grudge against Aetius, but I could not find out what that grudge really was. I don't know why it was that he disliked Aetius so much. I understood why Galla disliked him. I understood why Felix disliked him. I understood why Bonifacius didn't like him. I could not figure out why Maximus disliked him. But while Aetius was away, Maximus then decides that he's going to start basically sowing doubt in the mind of the emperor about what Aetius's actual motives and goals were. Where did these guys come from? Where did y'all come from? Whatever, doesn't matter. I'll kill them all the same. I really need to get this. Jeez, why are y'all so unhappy? What happened? Taxes, events, raiding, banditry. Do I have raiding happening? There's no. I guess there's these guys. Well, we're definitely killing these guys. How? Oh, you freaking. Okay, I don't have the soldiers for that. I don't want to do that. We'll just have to put you in a Lusa. So, is that what this is? Did y'all have like a... Oh, is it... No? No? So what happened? Hold up, I'm sorry. What happened? So what happened? I thought y'all were doing really well. Whatever, fine, doesn't matter. So Maximus then starts telling Valentinian that Aetius plans to usurp him and put his son on the throne. Now, if you had half a frickin' brain in your head, you would know that if Aetius wanted to do that, he'd have done it already. He had the support of the army, he had the soldiers, there was nothing stopping him from doing this if he really wanted to. But of course, that doesn't matter. What matters is... Ooh, hello. What do you have? I have Protectores Domestici. There you go. What matters is that he actually managed to bend the Emperor's ear. And then what ends up happening is that he actually colludes with another man, a eunuch named Heraclius. And between the two of them, they manage to convince the Emperor to kill Aetius. So, on the 21st of September, year 454, Valentinian himself killed Aetius. And he killed him while Aetius was giving him a status report of the empire's finances. And during the report, allegedly, there's different variations of the story, but for the most part, the accusation was simply that he had betrayed, Aetius had betrayed the emperor and intended to take the empire for himself. Now, some stories say that it was his drunken, beleaguered manner or something like that. There's some that are basically talking about his character is bad. Essentially, is what this is the easiest way I can kind of describe it. Is just his character is bad, but the whole shtick, the reason why he killed him was because he feared that his power would be taken from him. And so what he had done is that he drew his sword and he struck Aetius in the head and killed him. He would then have, later what would happen is that he actually would then go to... Oh, crap. Well, let's see if I can win. I doubt it, but let's see if I can win. He would then later boast about killing Aetius. Now, here's the thing. Aetius was literally unarmed and completely unprepared. He was literally reading off of a scroll whenever the Emperor just ran up to him, screaming at him that he was a traitor, and then just literally hit him in the head with a sword. Literally. That was it. He had no time to react. He had no idea what was going on. He had no time to defend himself. That was it. And whenever he was basically saying, hey, look what I just did, look how big and strong I am to all of his friends, literally someone in the court just told him, and this is a quote from, I forget which historian, but they said, you've literally cut your hand off. Sorry, so you've cut your right hand off with your left, and you call it a victory. Like, no. Like, and he was right. Without Aetius, things start to degrade very quickly. Gaul is essentially taken within months. Like, there's nothing left. Now the only thing that the Western Roman Empire controls now is Italy, and that's essentially it.
We will hold these walls or die, men. The enemy cannot set
But
foot
the
inside
next part,
city.
the interesting part.
Violated
Maximus
the invaders.
was a political animal. He wanted to be powerful. And he already had a lot of power. But he wanted more. And so he actually...
The enemy draws near.
Oh dear. But he wanted Aetius's job. He wanted Magister Militum. Now, funny story, Heraclius spent a ton of time making sure that the Emperor never gave that position
He is attacking our general.
to Maximus. But let's just say that Maximus was not going to be stopped by some pesky kid and a eunuch. That was just not going to happen. And so whenever the Emperor decided, no, we're not going to have that position anymore, and we're definitely not going to give it to you, Maximus then started to begin plotting the murder of the Emperor and Heraclius. Maximus enlisted the aid of two friends of Aetius.
The barricades.
Make sure I get their names right, because I'm going to butcher it otherwise.
The enemy have rallied their units.
Let's slow this down a little bit. Put you up. He enlisted the aid of two Huns named Optila and Thostylus, and told them the story about how the mean old emperor, who, with no help from him, murdered the brave and honorable Aetius, who was unarmed. And in no way did he have a role in that, despite all those pesky little rumors floating around the capital saying that he orchestrated it. No. It was the emperor. And look, there are people boasting, or at least talking about how the emperor boasted about how he killed Aetius. This stupid kid. So they plot to kill him. And on March 16th of 455, Valentinian then moved to the field. He went to the Field of Mars, which is usually it's a very religious, I guess for pagans, pagan Roman, it was very religious. He went there to practice his archery. But before he could get off of his horse, Optila then came around and stabbed him in the head, in the temple to be precise. And while he was turning to look at his attacker, Optila then basically just kept stabbing him in the stomach and finished him off. Now, Heraclius was there as well, and he just killed Heraclius. Heraclius was there as well, and Thraustulus just simply killed him. We don't really know how he killed him, although I'm assuming with a sword or a knife or something, but we really don't know how he did it. Now, of course, the Emperor doesn't just travel with 2 or 3 people. He travels with an entire bodyguard, almost like a little miniature army of Praetorians, and not a single one of them tried to help him.
Weapons and a
Not one. Not a single soldier. Even when he was bleeding out on the ground, not a single soldier even raised their voice in protest. They simply stood by and watched. Because all the men that were in the army had served under Aetius. And they all knew what had happened. That's pretty messed up, but like, that's how little that is how removed Valentinian was from his own empire. He did not even know that his own men were loyal to Aetius. And if you think the story ends there, oh no, we're not done yet. We still got more to go. So, Petronius Maximus has now just assassinated the emperor. He's got options. So the first thing he does, he moves extremely quickly. Oh, please don't take it. Okay, very good. I gotta take care of the Allens while I'm done. While I'm still working on this. So he moves very quickly, and by March 17th, so again, Valentinian is killed on the 16th. He is then crowned emperor on the 17th because he bribes the army and all the palace officials. Then to solidify and legitimize himself, he marries Valentinian's widow. Though she she believes that he was involved in her husband's murder, she doesn't really know for certain. But what she does know is she hates this piece of crap because he's a piece of crap, and he's kind of known to be kind of a piece of crap. He then appoints Avitus to be the Magister Militum, which is that supreme commander of the armed forces, and sent him to gain the support of the Visigoths. However, Maximus is an utter idiot, and he can't see, like many emperors, they get really intoxicated with themselves. And I don't know why they do this, but they do really stupid things that the average person would go, this was a really bad decision. Because Valentinian's daughter, and I cannot remember her name, is betrothed to the King of the Vandals' son. Well. We can't be having a Vandal marry the prince, or, well, I guess the daughter of an emperor. No. That goes to my son. It's actually very tiring because this man is an idiot. Like for someone who's as bloodthirsty and has actually a general and a politician, this man is so stupid. I can't believe he got this far. So he decides, I can take on the Vandals. They're not a big deal. And so what does King Gaiseric do? He's been waiting for years for the opportunity to invade Italy again. He got, again, essentially just kind of pushed off last time. But now, you've just had the emperor say, no. The betrothal between your daughter, or my daughter, and your son is no longer valid. And now she's going to marry my son. This naturally angers Gaiseric. And so he immediately begins to move to invade Italy. And because he actually has money and power and food, he's able to do it. And he's got no problem with supply lines, unlike the Western Roman Empire. And then to top it all off, Maximus is kind of like he's got Pikachu face right now going, what's happening? I don't understand. Why is this guy invading? And before Avitus can even get back, the Vandals are on your doorstep. They're coming. Like, they're days away. Rome is in a panic. And when I mean a panic, I mean there are people literally fleeing they're fleeing the city in droves. And in the panic, Maximus then says, okay, well, I have to get out of here. And he actually attempts to get the Roman Senate to go with him. Well, this doesn't work. Because they're like, we're not going with you. And in all the chaos, while people are trying to leave, before the Vandals get there, because again, the Vandals have a really nasty reputation for being really, really crappy people, he is separated from his bodyguard. Now, the Roman people know what he has done. They know who is to blame for what is about to happen. So what do? they stone him to death. They find him all by himself and they stone him to death. Then they mutilate his body and dump it in the Tiber River. He was literally emperor for, what was it? I didn't even write it down. It's like he's emperor for 20 days. 25 days. That's it. He managed to keep hold of the empire for 25 days.
We are losing our advantage.
This is the beginning of the end of the Western Roman Empire. Basically, yes. It's exactly right. It's street justice. But this is the end. Like, if at any point in time people were wondering, like, when does it actually fall? It's now. The Western Roman Empire never recovers from the death of Valentinian or Maximus. It has some death thralls, but there will never ever be a point after this where there's any kind of solidified power or unified structure anymore. At this point now, what you'll end up having is a bunch of puppets that play emperor. Let's see. Okay, so these guys are here, so let's definitely move these guys here. I guess no one's coming this way, so I'll just move these guys over here. Oh crap, we do have people coming this way. And there's swordsmen, so... Actually, no, let's keep you guys here. That's fine. Now, Gaiseric, hearing about this, is not deterred from Rome at all. He was promised something, and he's gonna get it. So, what he does is he goes in, and he moves towards Rome. Now, Pope Leo, I think, is still around. I think it's the same Pope Leo. I'm not 100% certain if it's the same Pope Leo. I'm not familiar with the different popes. He goes out to treat with Gaiseric, and he says, look, we will open the gates to the city as long as you promise not to butcher us. And Gaiseric agrees. And he, for the most part, he makes good on his offer. He doesn't butcher everybody. What he does do is he starts stripping the gold out of everything. He tears the city apart. He sacks the city of Rome for the second time in 80 years for 2 solid weeks. They sack the city for 2 weeks. They destroy churches, they destroy ministerial buildings, palaces are completely ruined. The entire city is destroyed, essentially, in this. For anything that looked Roman and had any kind of imperial power behind it, it was destroyed. Now, the Vandals take some captives with them, tons of slaves, but on top of that, man, these guys break so fast. On top of that, they take the former wife of Valentinian, and they take her daughter too. Oops, I forgot to bring these guys into the fold. And whenever he takes them back to Carthage, he then marries his son off to the daughter, just like it was promised. He gets his promise. Like, he gets the things that he was promised. He got his kingdom, and now he's getting his marriage. Full stop. Like, he gets everything that he wants. And in the end, actually, from what I can find out, not that it actually matters for this part of it,
Our walls are under attack.
he actually treats them very well. According to every record, it's like they were actually held in very high esteem in the courts, and they were treated with a great deal of respect. And well, one, because they're going to be family, but more importantly because I guess he realized they didn't do anything wrong. It's not their fault. They had to deal with stuff.
This is a shameful.
But yeah, this is the beginning of the end of the Western Roman Empire in real time. Like, you know, I wouldn't say that the Western Roman Empire had a chance to begin with, but this is the final. So this is one of the final nails in the coffin. This is where things just go so awry so quickly that every emperor past this never serves more than 4 years. So next time when we do this, I'm probably going to be chewing through emperors so fast, I'm not sure that I'm actually going to be able to do another stream on the Western Roman Empire, because they disappear so fast. And there's only like 10 more to go. And most of them don't get much done. But yeah, that was all I had for this evening. much longer than last time. I hope everybody enjoyed it because I enjoyed doing more research on it. I just wish that I could have done more research on the battles. I wish there was more battles I could have done. Okay, this needs to flip around and attack. Come on, go. Go, go, go. Bam. Alright, let's see here.
Our men are wavering.
No, they're not.
Our men are broken
Crap.
and running for their lives.
Crap. Yeah, I didn't think I was going to be able to win this fight. But, oh, hey, hey, look at that. I broke him. Now, turn around. Well, and this is, I think if anything, this should be a warning to anybody about consolidated power. These people are willing to murder each other. You know, again, like, none of these emperors live. Like, aside from Honorius, they've all been murdered. Like, again, Valentinian murdered his best general, and then, in return, they murdered him. And then right after that, Maximus, because he was involved with the murder, he himself is murdered. Like, I mean, it's nothing but blood. Like, that's all that is. It's nothing but blood. If history doesn't teach us anything, it should teach us that. These buggers taking Narbo. There's really good hookers in Narbo, according to historical accounts. Not that I would know. I've never been there. But yeah, no. Some of them were just really stupid. Maximus, more so than most. Maximus is one of those guys that I'm just like, you have no idea what you're doing. You want power. You're the American that thinks that kings can do whatever they want and get away with it scot-free. But remember where we left off, though. So, remember, before Maximus dies, he sends Avitus to treat with the Visigoths. And we'll see him again later. His story is not yet done. Let's see, barricade that. And I'm not going to make the same mistake last time. I'm definitely going to make sure these guys are over here. But yeah, maybe what I need to do is I need to play a game that's a little bit less intense or less demanding of my attention, because that was the big thing that kept throwing me off tonight. It was just trying to keep up with the game and with everything else. But I really enjoy playing this game. Even though this game's got lots of problems. Every time I look at the Total War Rome Remastered on Steam, I keep wanting to buy it. But I'm like, I don't know, maybe I shouldn't. It's money. Money I don't have right now. It's only like $30. It's not bad. Just don't have the money. Money, 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 money. Everything's about money. Come on, shoot him. Shoot him. Shoot him. Yeah, the more I learn about this time period, the more I'm just like, dude, the West is screwed. Now the East goes Hannibal on each other real fast too. Yeah, it does that up, man. Like I want to get Barotrauma, I want to get Total War Rome Remaster, and then I want to get Gears Tactics. I want to play that. I've not heard anything negative about it, which I would have expected to hear lots of negative stuff about Gears Tactics. I haven't heard anything though, which is surprising. And as a matter of fact, when I look at the reviews, not that I'm saying reviews are good for lots of stuff, but when I looked at the reviews were mostly positive, saying, hey, it's not XCOM, it's not quite like that, but it's pretty good. I was like, oh, well, maybe I should give it a try. I don't know. Maybe I should. Maybe I should not be such a... Go like, oh, this is terrible. Like, oh, maybe not. There we go. But yeah, when we get to the Eastern Roman Empire, because I'm fairly certain that the Western Roman campaign I'm playing right now probably won't last a horrendously long time at the rate we're going. The Eastern Roman Empire lasts a very long time and eventually reverts. It evolves into what we know as the Byzantine Empire. And then we are introduced into Islam, we're introduced into the Crusades. Like, they actually last a very, very long time. I think they last for another 1,000 years.
Enemy troops have reached the walls.
Well then, shoot them. Shoot them. Shoot the bad people. Shoot them. Shoot them with the many pokey sticks you have. Like, I forget which one it is, but there's an empress who, just like for Valentinian, where Galla Placidia was kind of the regent. Well, in the East, there's a mother who becomes regent, and she decides that she doesn't want to give up her power. And in Roman cultural norms, it is unacceptable for a Roman emperor to have any kind of like deformity or kind of medical problem. So what she does is she purposefully herself blinds her son so that he cannot ascend to the throne. She blinds her son so she doesn't have to give up power. Like, just bloodthirsty people. I love I love the Roman times. I love all the Roman stuff they have, but man, these people, and she's not the worst. She's not the worst, bruh. It's so bad. Now, I will say this though: the kingdoms of the Western Roman Empire, and like I said before I even started all this, what's really crazy about the Western Roman Empire is the fact that even though a lot of these, like the Vandal kingdoms, the Ostrogoths, the Visigoths, the Franks, the Sueves, they all convert. I know, right? They all convert to Christianity. They don't convert them to paganism or anything like that. As a matter of fact, most of them had formed some kind of, they actually ascribed to Arianism, which is in conflict to Catholicism. I'm not really familiar with Arianism, but basically what it is it's a belief, I guess, maybe like a denomination of Christianity, but they have a harder time dealing with the Trinity, whereas the Catholic Church is the triune God of, God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Spirit. Arians, they have a much harder time grasping that, and so they just say they kind of just ignore that, from what I understand. Now, I'm sure that I am wrong, because I'm not studied or well versed in Arianism in any way, shape, or form. So I would not in any way say that is authoritative or correct. But that's from what I have read. That's what I would kind of gather out of it. But I would need to probably talk to. I probably could find a preacher or a pastor that could probably tell me about it, if they even know what it is. It's ancient now. I don't even know if Arianism still exists anymore. I know that with Eastern Orthodox is what the East had, and then the Western Roman Empire had Catholicism, and then the Arians, then eventually the Protestants, and so on and so forth. But I don't think Arianism is practiced anymore. I can't imagine. I've never seen a church for it. Plus, the whole Aryan thing also might be a bit of an issue, though Aryan was not the name of it based on its people, but the name of the person that made it up. Let's say made it up. The name of the person that kind of is the theologian that was behind the thought process. That's probably a better way to say that. Because he didn't just make up Arianism. There was a monk, I think, that his interpretation of the Bible, and he didn't know how to handle the Trinity section. So yeah, now you're getting a little bit of theologian lesson today too. I can't even remember what started me on that little rant. Someone remind me. Quickly.
The enemy has attacked. Praise the gods. Your victory is moments away.
Now then, it's done this. But yeah, so eventually the Eastern Roman Empire has to fight off the Islamic hordes. And I always find it funny because some of their claims, like, we've always been here, and it's like, no, you haven't. Like, before you were there, that was the Romans. Before they were there, it was like the Seleucids. Before they were there, it was like the Assyrians. Before they were there, it was the Jews. Before they were there, it was like the Canaanites. Before they were there, it was somebody else. Like, it's like, y'all were the last there. Oh, I'm gonna get totally banned for saying that now. And I'm not done playing this. I'm having fun. And even though I have rebellions now all over the place, I have the money and the army to start taking some places back from these little buggers. And I'm gonna take it.
Ready for battle.
Let's see here.
We hunger for battle.
Mediolanum. Cavalry Corral.
Commander,
Let's go say hi to some of our Ooh, king! I like kings.
ready for
Let's go kill, is this the Allens? The Franks! Aha, the Franks! Let's go beat the crap out of the Franks. No, don't leave me, Mr. King. But you can go to my Emperor. That's fine. My Emperor will deal with you.
Destroy them.
But I hope everybody enjoyed those little stories. Jeez. I feel like I missed a spot, though, because I feel like I missed a whole chunk. Maybe I pulled 2 pages at one point. I don't know. I think it was the Felix assassination. I think I maybe I skimmed it is what I did.
Get into formation.
That's right. Get into formation. And you guys, I want you over here. So I'll continue to do this, and then what I'll probably do is after I'm done with the Western Roman Empire, maybe I'll do the Eastern Roman Empire. I don't find the Eastern Roman Empire that interesting. Oh, okay, so what happened is that a long time ago, this guy named Honorius died, and then Ioannis came over, and then the Eastern Roman Empire was like, hey, bro, I don't want you to do that, and then they killed that guy by cutting off his hand and then parading him around the Hippodrome, which is where they take chariot races, and then they killed him, and then this guy named Valentinian came up, and he was basically a 6-year-old kid who wasn't good at anything, and they said, hey, you'll be a good emperor. And then this guy named Aetius was like, bro, I need to go take back all of Gaul. And he's like, bro, okay, that's cool. And then Aetius pits 2 generals against each other. They kill each other, kind of. And then there's a rebellion that happens because of it. And then they all die. How'd I do? I may have skimmed the last part. Thanks, Sam. And thank you for setting up the overlays. I appreciate that. Oh, wait. Let's make sure we're still in formation here. We can't be out of formation. We are good Romans. So let's see if we can move over here. But yeah, so eventually what I want to do is we'll play Rome 2 unless I break down and buy Rome Total War 1, and we'll do the Rise of the Republic, because I like the Rise of the Republic area. The land of myth is far more interesting to me. It's almost as if it's in my name. But yeah, the mythology surrounding the founding of Rome I find very fascinating, especially the Roman kingdoms. I guess the reason why is because part of it is we don't really know everything that happened. Kind of like now, but in a different way. Like, we know the story of Romulus and Remus, but, like, we don't believe Romulus and Remus actually did everything they did. Like, that's not true. It's just the romanticized story we tell ourselves because we just don't know what happened. The early inventions, or say the early inventions, the early formation of the Roman legions, how they formed, what it is that they were, the fact that back then it wasn't even really legions, it was just a bunch of farmers, like, just where Rome started from versus where it ended is just like that you can't recognize them. They're not the same. We can even go into the part where they essentially borrow their entire culture from the Greeks, and the Greeks do it to the Romans too. When the Romans actually go around them, the Greeks start adopting the Roman way of life, which is really weird. But they were relatively compatible, so I guess that worked. And maybe what I'll do is, if I like it enough, I'll do little deep dives into actual military hardware.
keep him alive.
And the evolution of, like, so around this time we have the Gladius, which is no longer going to be used very soon, and we're moving into the realm of the Spathas, which is a little short sword that looks very similar to a Gladius but isn't a Gladius. Where is... There he is. Now, Grim, I need you to tell Ham to buy Barotrauma so we can play. I need you to shame him into it. The Roman symbol, the late Roman symbol, the P star. It's a good try. I liked it. I actually have. I don't know when you joined in, Ham, but I actually have Skade who's going to work on some music for us, so that whenever if I can get it, what we'll do is we'll set it up to where there'll be some nice music for the beginning. I'm going to be working with him relatively closely to figure out what that's going to sound like. I don't want to give it away yet, so. It's gonna be amazing. Oh, it's gonna push him right back into me. I love it. And oh, let's just kill him. And the Franks learned a valuable lesson with the Western Roman Empire. Don't F with my version of Honorius is much better than the other ones. But another thing that was also interesting to me about the Western Roman emperors is the fact that they're so busy just dealing with their own, like, just vanity, they just can't seem to be bothered to do anything. They just don't. I mean, there's literally an emperor that just, he sits around, like, he knowingly lets his empire burn. Like, it's really weird. It's like, oh, as long as I'm emperor, it doesn't matter. It's really weird. Alright, let's see here. Now, since I've got my economy now booming, I need to build another army.
Commander, I want hourly patrols. Are you ready to serve? Sign up, lads, for a good and glorious life.
Yes. Yes. Oh, how'd you get sick? I've got, I thought I had stuff for this. Oh, no, we're in Venetia, so no. Oh, no, I thought I did. That's the skirmisher range. Oh, no, this one doesn't have it. Crud. Or does it? I thought it did. Yeah, no, yeah, it does. It has a reservoir, so how did it get sick? How did we get sick? I got food, I've got sanitation. Like, what the hell's happening here? Ugh. Yeah, that took me, what? That was almost 2 hours of non-stop talking. Now we're going to take back Regium. Oh, wait. Oh, crud. Yeah, that was a bad decision. I saw right at the end, I was like, oh, jeez, I don't have the soldiers for this. I'm going to need to go back and get some more. What are you doing here? Freaking, what even are you? Now, one of the things I also need to do is I need to research what the White Huns were. Apparently, they're a thing. I did not know what the White Huns were until I had to look them up the other day. But apparently, a group called the White Huns exist, and I have no idea what they are or where they came from. I don't know anything about them. Now, you guys, I need to... Can I just kind of merge you? Oh my god, you just made it worse. There we go. Now let's see. Let's see. Can you take back Argentur? And that's a relatively large army. Can I take that? I don't know if I can take that. I'm not sure I can take that. I will sit in Visantio where it's nice and safe for now. And you, let's march you back to Octodurum, also where it's nice and safe. And let's get rid of your mercenaries, because those are expensive. I want to get my money back. I don't need that much stuff going on. same for you guys almost, but I'm going to keep you around because I got some problems here. And you... Very good.
Cower like kennel dogs.
Do. Oh wow, you got artillery ships. Okay. Alright.
None will escape.
But one thing I miss from the old Total Wars is the health system. And I didn't quite know how to verbalize it until I heard somebody say it, and then as soon as they said it, I basically was like, yes, this, absolutely. And one of the things that I don't like about the new Total War, including this one and in Rome 2, was that back in the day, every unit, every soldier in a unit had one hit point. That's it. Now, that whole thing was decided by armor, so if you got hit with a sword, you know, your armor might block it, and you have the armor, the shield, the whole 9 yards. So you have all these different modifiers that play into it. So you actually had a much better chance of surviving a fight than you might think if you had 1 HP. Well, this also made it much more fun, because it didn't feel like, you know, you weren't chipping away at a health pool. You actually had something that kept you from getting killed. Whereas now, they just have modifiers and a giant freaking health pool. So before, your shield actually kind of mattered. You know, they may not have actually shown, like, let's say a spear, you know, lodged in a shield, but they mattered. Whereas now, it's all for show. It doesn't matter if they have a shield or not. It's all about the health.
And you are right to fear.
Oh, the Subians! Hey, look at that! It's almost as if they decided they wanted to die. And I'm definitely not going to call on my... Oh, hold on, let's see. Yeah, let's do it. Obviously, they're going to join on my side. Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. This is going to be a nasty little fight. Got a decent garrison. I've got some... I have mercenaries with me? When did I pull mercenaries to me? Why would I pull mercenaries to me? Anyway, so now you can just chip away at them no matter what, because that stuff does damage no matter what. Like, if I fire an arrow at a guy who's completely shielded up, like in a Tetsudo formation, the shield doesn't do it. The shield doesn't do anything. It's there for show. It does. It definitely gives you an armor modifier, but it doesn't do anything beyond that. It's just kind of boring, and it kind of ruins a lot of the tactical elements of it. So I kind of miss that, and the morale. You know, that and the fact that their morale's a lot higher in this game, but that's fine. Now I do actually want to try that 1212 AD mod that Mr. Potts or Mrs. Potts, whoever he is. No, what are you doing? What are you doing? I do actually want to give that a shot. That's actually like Middle Ages kind of stuff. And from what I've seen, it looks really good actually, but I haven't played it yet, so I don't know. Now I also want to try the Middle Earth mod for Medieval 2, but that's way down the line. I'm not gonna have a chance to do that for a while. Let's move you guys right here. Actually, I wonder if I can move you guys over here instead. It might make more sense to move my pikemen right here, where everybody's just gonna die whenever they charge into them. So, anybody have anything exciting to talk about for the weekend? Because aside from talking about Roman emperors, I got nothing right now. Run, boys, run! Run, boys, run! It's gonna be that kind of a boring weekend, huh?
The tower has been totally destroyed.
Oh, please don't tell me y'all are running this way. Yep, you're running this way. Alright, let's... Oh, I got 2 sets of... Oh, crap! Crap!
The enemy are ambushing us.
Crap. Shut up! There we go. Pikemen. Get those pikes down, get those pikes down, come on! Yeah, now charge me. Charge me, I dare ya. Do it! Do it! Do it! Do it! Get them pokey sticks going. Boom! Just boom, 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 boom! Look at those, just impaled immediately. Just can't even get there. I love pikemen. They're just so overpowered. They're great.
The enemy is attacking the barricades.
I forgot to move these guys up. Let's see, move you guys up here. Oh, and those are Germanic pikes. Let's move you guys up. Get those guys knocked out. What, they lost one guy? Out of all that, they lost one man? Yeah, one man. An entire cavalry charge. Oh, this guy's stuck. I guess he's not stuck. There he goes. Germanic pikes. Just the biggest FU to any cavalry, or even infantry for that matter, charge that you're going to find in this game. Let's move you guys off. If I can pull this off right, I need to move you guys back. Nothing exciting. You're gonna burn something down. You're not gonna have drunken stupors for weekends, like nothing. Sorry, I planned it. My weekend will consist of waffles and fixing a shower, and then beginning research for the next week. That will be my weekend, and then maybe hopefully. Let's see here. Ooh, more pikes. Okay, run away. Run away from the pikes. We don't like pikes. We really don't like pikes. Yeah, horsies don't like pikes. We've learned this lesson already. Just not on our side. Alright. Yeah, one of the things we want to do is, especially near the end, or near the end, as we grow, hopefully, what we're hoping to do is build a little community that we can play games with. You know, whether we can have, you know, giant Call of Duty fights or whatever. That's kind of the end game for what we want to do here. This is supposed to be just kind of a place to have fun, especially right now. Looks like the world's going to shit in a hell in a handbasket. So we're hoping that we can just kind of make a place that people can just kind of come and hang out, have fun, play games, and not worry about everything. I hear you, man. I hear you. So hopefully, as we grow, we'll be able to get. Hopefully, that's the vision we're gonna get. Hopefully, we'll see that through. But you know, like everything else, you just never know. But if anybody hasn't, and they would please join the Discord server, you can always find it in the About page. And from there, we kind of just talk and do stuff there. As I said, I really don't want to be on Twitter anymore, and to talk to people that actually might want to talk to us, I'd rather it all be on the Discord server. And I know 90% of people don't want to talk much. I'm not a big talker all that much either, unless I'm talking about something I care about, or I'm talking about Rome, or something stupid, or video games, or complaining about things. You know, I love to complain. Who doesn't like to complain? Giving up? Giving up? There's nowhere to run. Why would you run? Filthy, traitorous scum. Let's give me that. Bam! There you go. There you go, boys. Let's see. Oh, those freaking... Okay, that's gonna stop. We gotta fix that. Immediately, we gotta fix that. So those pikemen are going to just completely eat my lunch if I don't do something about that. They got to go. So I gotta stop those guys. Or at the very least put some more soldiers here that'll stop them. Because these pikemen, as we saw earlier, are just going to eat everything they get into touch with. They're just going to eat every unit they touch. So let's see if we can fix this problem. Oh, you're winded. Crap. Okay, so I need to stop y'all for a minute. Just walk. Alright. That's for you. Oh, no, don't break, don't break, don't break, don't break, don't break. Alright. Get him.
Men have given up and are
Get
running
'em.
for their lives.
Bam. Alright, so the Legio's all that I got left here. Definitely pull these guys up. Move you here. Then I'm going to walk you right into their king. King? Commander. Volkod. Komitatenses. Get him with your pokey sticks. Get him with your pokey sticks. Remove the Legion back. And now y'all gotta fight the pikemen. Screw you. And they're just gonna, well, I guess they're not gonna, they're gonna get hit. They're gonna get enveloped probably, but still. These poor Legios, they're just gonna get their butt handed to them. Alright, as for you... Get him, pikemen. Get him. Alright, we got more people to kill, so let's speed this up. We got a lot more people that needs to die. Let's just scooch you boys back. Let you guys just take these guys on. Yeah, let's get you guys back a little bit. And then move you guys up. Get a little charge in there.
Enemy units have been rallied.
Where? Oh, hello.
The enemy general is dead.
Indeed. You guys can pull back. You are just, yeah, you're exhausted. You're not going to be much use to me anymore. Let's see here. And then maybe after we do Rome, maybe we'll do Greece. We'll do like the rise of Greece, Athens, Sparta, then maybe Macedonia. Don't you run away from me. No, 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 no. You started this. You started this. You don't get to run away. My horsies better catch up to you. Don't leave me. We're just about to have pizza. They better just kill tons of people here. Oh, look, a bug. Let no one tell you that the Warscape engine is imperfect. Because this right here is perfection right here. This is perfection personified. Can I even tell how fast these, how many people I'm killing? I don't even know. Well, go get him. Horsies, go get him. Go get them, horsies. Why can't I go get them? Oh, horsies. There we go. There we go. Alright, after this turn, I think I will call it a night. Not this fight, this turn. So I got one more to go. But I'm glad everybody joined in to watch. It's always fun to do this stuff. Hopefully people learned something. Mostly about, you know, being emperor and how it sucks. I mean, you should have learned that last time whenever the Roman Britons, like, murdered their emperor twice. And then the third time. Oh, geez, it's getting really late. I didn't know how late it was until I just looked at the clock. Ham, I should never have looked at the clock. Why did you let me do that? Alright, we're done. That's right, it was heroic victory. I deserve a medal. Praise me. That's right, don't be a greedy, power-hungry douche. That is a fantastic lesson to learn. Such a good lesson, actually. It's actually underappreciated. There is no way in hell I'm actually... Oh, let's fight it. Oh, why not? We'll fight it, we'll lose, but we'll at least take some of them with us. I just wasn't expecting to take, well, I wasn't really expecting to, fight the Huns this turn. So after this fight, that'll definitely be time to go. Well, I mean, the late Roman Empire, I mean, karma is a way of looking at it, but there's a lot of things that really did it in, because I don't know why people keep going like, what actually made the empire fall? And I was like, dude, there's a million things that made the empire fall, but the biggest one is the fact that whenever the empire was formed, the empire, even the Republic, they only had one enemy at a time. Like, even Marcus Aurelius and most of them, whenever they're fighting the Marcomanni, when they're fighting the Gauls, they weren't fighting on 3 or 4 different fronts at all times. Like, not including the fact that they were bleeding their own resources dry, but they kept making these bad decisions, and by the time that the actual empire was at this point, most of it was fragmented. So it's not like this empire was completely strong up until like one specific person. As more and more threats came about, more and more people decided that they didn't need to talk to Rome anymore to make decisions. And that's the problem with the top-down structure of any kind, is that as soon as it reacts to something that's big, it can handle the big threats single or one at a time. As soon as it has to deal with multiple problems, it will collapse because it can't deal with it. This has happened for every monarchy, it's happened for every empire, it's happened for every dynasty. Every time you have a top-down centralized system, it can't function in the long run because eventually it will have to deal with forces beyond its capability. And that's the problem. And it drives me nuts when people go like, well, what actually did make the empire fall? I was like, the fact that it was an empire. That's what made the empire fall. Literally the way they structured it. Now, some other stuff that did that too. And I learned this while I was doing research as well. So Rome, as we all know, well, say we should know by now, the Roman Empire had been debasing its currency for a long time as well. And one of the other reasons that it fell is because as time went on, their money became worth less and less and less and less. And the question is, well, why did they keep debasing the currency? And it's a question that I've had as well. It's like, why would you willingly debase your currency? And the answer is actually a lot more complicated than you might think. At some points, it was because they were greedy. They were just straight up greed. Other times, it was less obvious, but, and again, I didn't know this until recently either. I didn't know this, but Rome actually traded with the Orient, like China. Actually, there have been found a crap ton of Roman coins from different emperors. Let's charge these guys. Found in China. They've been buried and like long forgotten, but they existed. And they had been trading with them, but they had been trading with them for so long that they weren't getting anything back. So the Orient was not interested in actually buying things from Rome, but Rome was interested in buying things from the Orient. Yeah, that's you gotta be able to step away from that kind of stuff, because you're absolutely right. You gotta be able to kind of pull that stuff out. But again, like, it's not any one of these things that did it. That's just the next thing, is that it's not that this specific thing is the thing that did him in. It's all of these things. It's the fact that you have a top-down structure. It's the fact that there's tons of inflation. The fact that by making Romans' lives easier, they essentially didn't want to act. So another thing is that later on we'll talk about it, was that under Majorian, I think is his name, Majorian, Romans had been so far removed from fighting their own fights that, like, they didn't even bother trying to recruit Romans to be in the Roman army anymore. They just didn't bother, because they knew they weren't going to get anywhere. So they had to just they had to rely and focus on Goths and barbarians, which, like I've said a dozen times since I started doing this, even before I started streaming Total War, don't ever let your empire run off of foreigners to fight your armies, because it's just going to make your people weak. Yeah, the Huns came through, and they're going to just completely destroy this city. But yeah, no, I thought it was very interesting. I want to do more research on the Romans trading with the Orient, because according to archaeologists, they're finding, like, really high-end silver that has just been sitting in the ground for, well, I guess now thousands of years, because the Orient didn't really care to trade back. They definitely took Roman gold and silver, but they didn't actually want anything the Romans offered. So it literally bled. It was one of the things that kept bleeding them dry, was them sending all their really good silver overseas, and they had less and less and less and less and less silver and gold in the empire. Now, think about how much that is. It's not like Rome was like, oh, I only have a little bit of silver. No, this is a massively wealthy empire. And they literally spent a lot of it and gave it away. Even to people that... Cadians. Can you give me money? Payments? Demand payment. Okay, how about payments? Ah, I got 900 gold out of it. But, you know, I mean, like everything else, there's a lot of events, but you have to also realize that history rhymes. It doesn't repeat, it just rhymes a lot. And that doesn't necessarily mean that everything is the same way. That doesn't mean that there aren't moments in time where history repeats itself. That like, oh, this is the end. That's one of the things I want everybody to kind of pull away from this, is the fact that I know people that are like, nope, this is the end, we're all doomed. And don't get me wrong, it's really easy to fall into that, and even I do sometimes. But just because things are going bad, and because there are some parallels, that doesn't mean that this is like that this is the end of it. This is how we know that this is the end. No, it's not true at all. Rome had multiple crises by this point. And I say multiple, I mean enough to the point where people thought, this is it, we're done. And they pulled themselves out of it. Like the third century, the crisis of the 3rd century. I forget all the stuff that happens in it, but basically a bunch of really, really bad stuff happens, and they still manage to survive as a singular empire too. So it's not like, it's not like this is unheard of before. Now, all civilizations eventually fail, though. That's the kicker. All civilizations eventually fail because of some reason or another. I'm just gonna go ahead and finish that. I'm not gonna bother fighting that with 3 guys. I guess the real kicker is try not to be around the civilization when it fails, because holy crap, nobody wants to be a part of that. Let's see here. Integrity, definitely want integrity. Definitely want that. Sure, give me that. Let's upgrade you guys. And let's see if we can't upgrade you. There we go. And what do I need? Well, it seems like something that's like, oh, this is obvious to anybody who pays attention, but, you know, I mean, America's gone through a couple different crises before, too. None that have been so bad as, like, let's say, some of the stuff that Rome's gone through, or Rome went through. That being said, though, that doesn't mean the things that we've gone through are not really, really bad. It's just they're not on the same level. Like, we haven't had an existential threat like Rome has had on multiple occasions. Like, we haven't had a Hannibal Barca scenario, I guess. Well, let's take it back. We might have had... No, I wouldn't call the Civil War a Hannibal Barca scenario, which it's kind of one of the reasons why I want to do the early Republic, because Hannibal Barca is just a military genius. Like, the amount of things that man had to overcome in order to get that army together is really interesting. I want to talk about it. But there's no fun of talking about it now because, you know, that wouldn't be fun. Okay. I have 2 sets of food supply? Why did I do that? That was dumb. Why did I do that? Grim, why did I do that? Kill this bugger. Kill this guy. Exactly. Freaking traitors. A lot of them. And by the way, one of the things that actually bothers me in movies and TV shows, like, there's a reason why the Romans, I can't zoom in, but there's a reason why you have a breastplate. And puncturing a breastplate is insanely difficult. I mean, to the point where it's not really even a thing. It's just not something you can do. And so whenever you have whenever you just see, like, oh, I'm gonna punch right through plate mail or right through chain mail, it's like you like have to go after them with a force just unheard of. Like, the average, even an abnormal human could not bring that much force behind a sword. I know it's a game, it's fine, but there's a reason why they wore them, and, you know, the part where they didn't want to get stabbed in the chest really is what they did that for, and it worked really well. Now let's see. Can I move down to Lugdunum? Probably can, but I need to... Oh, I can't reach over there. Avaricum. What is this? The Alans? No, the Abdanians. I don't know where the Abdanians came from. I have yet to hear about them. Yes, that's why you have Morning Stars and Warhammers and what else you got? You got maces. Yeah, that's why you got those, to deal with those difficult little armors. If I can't puncture your armor, I'm gonna make your armor crush you. That's exactly right. I like Devlin's idea. Let's see, is this... Am I rising in Christianity here or lowering? I'm rising, but I need more public order. Ooh, even good sanitation, which I think I already have with the reservoirs, so I can probably get away with just doing this. And can I get another priest? I cannot get another priest, but I can get another spy if I can find a place to recruit a spy. I have no money! I'm burning it all on this crazy army that I'm probably going to need soon. I do. Aquileia. Actually, I probably need to upgrade this, but I don't want to burn through my food. And hopefully, the Vandals... Actually, where are the Vandals? I have not run into the Vandals yet. I know they're coming. Right, you need to go away. Yeah, that's what I thought. Get the hell away from me. Yeah, they're not gonna... It's what? 2 guys? Yeah, no, they're fine. And yeah, they would lose. Alright, one more turn, I think. Just like one more bite. One more bite, then I'm done, right? Hello. You are general. Cunning. Public order. Now. Do I want to take out you guys over here? I kind of do. I kind of do want to take them out. But that would mean leaving Tingy alone. I don't want to do that either. Let's just auto-resolve that. I kicked your butt the first time. I'm not going to do it a second time. Kill all of them. Alright. And where even are you? What are you? What is this? The Gaetulians. Or Gaetulans. The Gaetulians. You've only got one province. Okay, so literally if I take that, it's like it's kind of a waste of my time. Oh, hello. I didn't know you were broken. That's not good. Oh, another very interesting thing that happens during the time of Attila is one of the reasons they have a famine is one of the only instances that I can think of where the quote-unquote term climate change actually occurs. Alamans. I'll take peace of the Alamans. They don't really own anything that I want. And if they do, I'll just take it from them later. But this is one of the only times where recorded quote-unquote climate change occurs, and I use that term very loosely. Because what we end up seeing is the Earth go through a very interesting period where I think before they were able to like grow really tropical fruits in like England, but they can't anymore. I forget exactly what it was, but I need to read up on it again. But it's one of the reasons why the famine hit Europe so hard at the time, because they just didn't. All of a sudden, everything changed. Like they couldn't grow the same crops they used to grow anymore. It's crazy. Let's see. I kind of say there's no point in even fighting this because I know this is going to be a loss, but. And they actually, I think they do compensate for that in this game. So, like, as time goes on, you'll see, like, snows start to appear in Northern Europe, like, during the snowy months. I actually don't know why. I need to look into it more. I just know it's one of those natural phenomena that it changed and it never really went back. But I think what it really is just that the Earth goes through natural heating and cooling cycles. And, you know, that happens once every couple thousand years. And I think this is just one of those moments where it just so happened to be that way. And I think there's also lots of reports of astrological phenomenon as well. Like the sun was doing some specific things, the moon was doing specific things that are also very, very rare. So again, I think there's many factors here, but I don't know all the details. I need to look it up. But even then, like that's more just kind of like, oh, this will be interesting to know. Like, but it's not really something that I care about in the long run. All right, let's speed this up because I already know the answer to this fight. The answer to this fight is I lose. I need to be more aggressive with my armies, but I don't want to spend them because I know the Huns are not far from basically coming and just kicking my teeth in. Let's move you guys here so I can flee back and forth. It's kind of hard to ambush defenders, especially when I know you're coming. Oh crap! They already locked in combat. Well, I guess that's the end of that. Now, this is something that I still need to look up. I don't know if crossbowmen existed at this time. I genuinely don't know. Man, these guys are just... Another thing I don't like about the new Total War stuff. I hate these little arrow slits. I hate that so much. Like, show me arrows. Like, this doesn't look like arrows to me. It's like a cheap little, like, oh, it's just, they fire little black things. Whereas in, like, the old games, even in Total War Shogun 2, man, when you fire arrows, That looks really cool. You see the arrows go up, you see him do a parabolic arc, you see him come down. So like your first rank would fire down, and then your second rank would fire up. Oh my gosh, it looks beautiful. It looks fantastic. And if I ever get to it, we'll play a Shogun 2 campaign, because it's absolutely gorgeous watching the archers go off. Especially if you got a bunch of archers, you could wipe out armies with archers. They're fantastic. Love them, love them, love them. But yeah, you don't see that with the new stuff, which really kind of bothers me. I really wish that they did that. Even in Total War Warhammer, which Total War Warhammer is worse at this. And I mean, that's not really surprising. Total War Warhammer is probably one of the worst things that they've made. But I mean, I'm astonished in some cases as to how bad the archery stuff looks to me. And again, I love Warhammer. I like Warhammer Fantasy, and I like Warhammer 40k. But they've managed to make me dislike Total War Warhammer. There are mods for Medieval 2 that look better and that act better. Man, my Legio's still holding on tight.
This is a shameful display. The men are broken and running for their lives.
Oh man. Damn rebels. I mean, darn rebels. Okay, I'm getting tired. Yeah, that's how you know. I'm not even watching my mouth anymore. Yep. But hey, it happens. Oh my gosh, stop it! Alright, so this is about half, so let's try it out. And then after this fight, we will call it a night. I guess call it a morning, because it's, you know, getting there. Maybe one day we'll do an all-night stream. Maybe we'll do that for like October or something, for a spooky stream. Where I'm going to sit there basically too scared to go to bed, because I'll have basically pissed my pants a few times because I'm terrified of horror. And I'll be like, I don't want to go to bed. Chat, don't leave me. I'm gonna sit in my chair and I'm gonna be like, don't leave me. That's right, I gotta move these guys down here. I didn't think about the frickin' boats! It's alright, it's my number one bane for playing this game, is I just can't seem to get my frickin' act together when it comes down to my navy and my cavalry. I should not have lost as many settlements as I had at the beginning, but I just could not seem to remember my freaking cavalry. Alright, so I guess
Power is nothing but ash now.
y'all coming up this way?
The enemy has laid an ambush.
Yes, you are.
We must defend the barricade.
Which isn't great. I really don't like that. Stop it. Okay, form up. Just in time.
The enemy refuses to admit defeat. Their unit has rallied.
Get you boys over there. Wait, what's beating me? What? Exploradores are beating Legios. That is insanity to me. There you go, that's better. Exploradores like scout troops. Scout troops are beating heavy infantry. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Our men flee the field of battle. This is a shameful display.
Now shoot these guys. Whee!
The enemy, a unit's ammunition is spent, and it can no longer fire.
Already? Wow, that was fast. Very good. Beat them. Kill them. Maim them. Now attack those guys. do. Each time I say one more turn, and each time I hit the turn button again. I'm not addicted. I can quit when I want. I promise. Let's, you know what? I usually try not to run my guys, but why not? Let's run them. Run. Ham, if you get barrow trauma, we can play tomorrow. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Quick. Everybody, antagonize Ham until he buys it. It's like $10. Totally worth it.
A glorious victory will soon be yours.
Maybe. I want someone that's you can't play it by myself. You gotta have people to play with, bruh. Kill these rebels. And maybe one day I'll be able to forge my own gladius. It's another life goal. I want to forge my own sword. More rebellions. I thought I fixed all this. Hey, how can I have another rebellion here? They're already in open rebellion. And I just lost Elusa. Yeah, he does. If the peer pressure just simply keeps peering and pressuring, he'll give in. He will give in to the peer pressure. It's not wrong to give in to peer pressure sometimes, especially when the peer pressure is coming from me. I know best. That is on my tombstone, or will be one day. Here lies myth. He knew what was best. Nobody listened to him. See, katanas, I would love to have a katana, but I want to forge a sword that I think that is, in my opinion, the epitome of... Wait, what the heck is this? Supply storage. Why the hell would I want to do this? I don't even have any soldiers here. I can't even make soldiers here. But I can make an onager. But we'll do that another time. Let's just kind of get everybody squared away. These guys need to stop. Ooh, like an arming sword or a long sword. Hell yeah, that's the way to do it. Grim, get your kid to like a furnace, and then teach him the ways. I'm gonna take Domavia. Oh, there's only 2 guys there. I'm not even gonna fight. I'm just gonna fight it and win. Yeah, easy take back. Take part of my land back that the Visigoths, these darn dirty pagans, took from me. I can't build it. Why not? I must rebuild the city first. Fine. These dirty pagans. But yeah, I want a katana that I forged myself, but I'm not as interested in that. I'm far more interested in forging a what do you call it? A Pompeian gladius, which is the longer form of the gladius. Nice. I'm very jealous, actually. I'm extremely jealous because, I mean, most groups will not let you touch that unless you have experience with it, and so of course, I've never actually forged a darn thing in my life. So of course, the obvious conclusion is they're never gonna let me.
Ready for orders.
All right, let's see here. I think we are done for this evening. So, I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. I appreciate y'all hanging out with me for the entire time. If you haven't and you want to, please join the Discord server where we'll be talking random things every now and again. It's lots of fun to be had by all. I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you all tomorrow. Actually, no, not tomorrow evening. I will see you this evening. So, have a good night.